Hey guys, it's Justin and Joe with VMP's Tuning Tuesday, Season 2, Episode 13, Lucky 13.
Hey everybody.
So we've got a lot of internally exciting things coming up here soon. Anything we want to share externally?
We were just talking about that a little bit. There's a lot going on this week and even the following week as well. So we've got another Chucky episode that just hit, and we're planning the next episode, and I'm going to tell you it will have more manifold swapping and testing shenanigans on a Gen 1 Coyote, which we have not done a whole lot of before. And I also know that you're in the middle of flex fuel tuning on Chucky as well. So I got to make sure, what fuel's in it right now?
93's in it right now.
93's in it, okay. So I will do the manifold testing and tuning, and then I will give Chucky back to Joe to do the E85 flex fuel tune development.
Sweet.
Yeah, but that should be pretty cool. I think we'll get some interesting results out of that.
And we'll be able to answer all the questions for all those guys that are like, oh, well, what does it make on an 11?
Yeah, that's a big question, because the Gen 1 motor's not as high horsepower producing as the Gen 2 and
Gen 3.
Yeah. And then, of course, the race is this weekend.
Yeah, the NMRA, NMCA race where they're doing a Eaton class.
Yeah, Eaton TVS throwdown class. Throw it down!
Exactly.
Win $1,000 and a supercharger of your choice, a TVS supercharger of your choice. So if you win, pick VMB. But we're also sending some of our own winners up there that'll hopefully
already have a VMP on their car.
El Toro's going up there. Mitchell Page was talking about going up there.
Mitchell's bringing the car out?
That's what he was talking about. He's talking about taking off work and going up there. Yeah.
Nice.
So.
Nice.
And you can, like, this class, you just have to run a TVS supercharger. I'm pretty sure you can spray. Does anybody know if you can spray it?
I can try and look it up real quick.
Okay, Chris is going to look it up. But
we also have a new tech in the shop.
Yes. Yeah, our new.
That's exciting.
Yeah. It's very exciting because Joe's department has been working on everything that came into the shop.
Yep, and getting all the old projects finished out. Yeah,
VMP's got a new full-time motorsports-oriented technician in the shop. So he's been banging stuff out like it's nobody's business. Maybe we'll have him on the show in a couple weeks or something.
Yeah, introduce him and whatnot.
Yeah.
I guess we'll just take questions from here then.
Yeah, let's roll into some
else.
questions, and we'll pop up with some nuances when...
Yeah, and let us know if any of you guys are rolling up to the NMRA and MCA race. Come see us. We'll have, I think it's Matt and Joey are going to be up there.
Matt and Steve will be up there.
Matt and Steve.
There'll be a VMP tent on the midway. We'll have some, goodies and stuff like that.
Some tchotchkes. Are we going to bring USB Gen 3s?
Yes, we will bring miniature Gen 3s.
The budget Gen 3s for all those people that want to be like, yo, I need 50% off a Gen 3. Here you go, 50% off a USB.
16 gigabytes of memory. And look, Rebecca tagged us.
Oh man, thanks Rebecca.
And I pulled out my phone because I was going to show you this.
Oh my.
These are new throttle body designs. So some of that stuff is in the works right now, and so we've got that one, and then we're going to design that one, but we're going to pretty much go straight to that one. That'll be the big boy.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Good times are going to be had here soon, guys.
Yes, Joe.
We already have a car out there that's scratching at 1,000 with a teeny tiny throttle body on it, so it'd be nice to throw one of those on there and get that like 1050-ish.
Yeah, and we still have VMP 160s and 173s for combos that they are compatible with big cam GT500s and Coyotes. Rebecca's run one, Justin Young's run one, a lot of people have run one.
Grant's got them.
But we're making some smaller stuff that is more any Coyote stock or modified any GT500.
I have something else I want to mention that wasn't mentioned is, in case you missed it, on Thursday, Burnout Box will be going to a new time. Burnout Box will be Thursdays at 1:30 in the afternoon instead of 6 p.m. at night moving forward.
Very important.
That's starting this week. And then the other thing is I dropped a post a little bit ago asking for questions for a special pre-recorded episode that will be on April 25th. So if you guys would go on there, and gals, go on there and submit questions that you want Rebecca and Justin to answer. That way they can do a pre-recorded version of it. And that will be launching, like I said, on April 25th. And with that said, we can roll into some questions. Nutty50 says, any Ranger tuning coming up soon? He said others have been doing it and making nice power.
I have not even touched a Ranger. I feel bad because it's like, I always wanted a 4-door Ranger and they finally made one, and I haven't even like gone to touch one in person yet. But maybe here, once we get some of these other calibrations projects done, we'll play around with a Ranger.
Yeah, I think it'd be, you know, just a matter of getting our hands on one and then sicking our tuners on it.
Mm-hmm.
Rick Height says, hey, Justin, Joe, and Carrie.
Hey, Rick.
Hey,
Hola.
Rick. We have a bunch of highs. Let's see here. Rebecca says, ask us anything. We might not answer, but we might. Cameron says, hello, Team VMP. Thanks for the content. Joe, I'll have a log for you Friday.
Sweet. Who said that?
Cameron.
Oh, okay, Cameron Moyer. Yep.
Cameron, yeah.
I think that's how you say his name. Sorry if I butchered that, Cameron.
Yep. Jonathan Whitaker's on the line. Good afternoon, everyone. He should have his car in for dyno tuning end of next week.
Oh, man.
Jonathan, end of next week?
He's ambitious. He's already got the engine out.
Where's the new engine? Is it in?
I don't think new engine's in yet. I think he's working with, I don't know if he picked it up from Jordan yet or not, but hopefully here soon. That car should make some good power.
Joey says, hello, VMP crew.
Hola, Joey.
Let's see. Chris Bouchard says, Joe, what is the best theory of a Dead Man song, and why is it RX?
It is not RX. I see what you did there, though. I don't know. The one that brings back the most memories for me is Bad Girlfriend. But I don't think that's their best song. I haven't seen them live in a few years, so I don't know how they're doing anymore. The shirt's from like 2010, maybe 2011.
It looks like it, Joe.
Yeah, it had a couple rough months at the wife's mom's house. She likes using bleach. So like you know how you do one load with the liquid bleach, and like the following loads for like 2 after that are hit or miss on whether or not they get screwed up. I lost many of shirts to that washer.
Interesting. Interesting.
That, and they had a well system that had a lot of chlorine in it, so it didn't help with shirts either.
Jonathan says he's waiting on a new clutch. New motor is picked up tomorrow.
Nice.
Awesome.
Dale says, sup VMP.
Hola, Dale.
Cameron says a lot of butthurt fanboys over that Eaton class.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't see anyone butthurt, but maybe I missed the threads.
Let's see. What kind of power could I expect with a VMP 2650 on a stock long block 04 SVT Cobra?
Depends on what fuel you're using and what you're pulled for boost wise and what your sporting mods are. But if we go, what our 90%ers are, we'll call it 93 long tubes, 2 upper, and a decent cold air and throttle body combo, you're probably looking at 630 to 660 at the tire on 93, depending on how
safely.
How aggressive your tuner's being with it for 93 octane. And Cobras aren't too consistent power-wise to begin with. I mean, you had some of those stock cars laying down like 400 wheel completely stock, and then you had other ones making like 340 wheel completely stock. And then we see a little bit of that variance in just the cars we do on the dyno.
Tuned and modified cars, yeah. Now, you know, like if you go corn and everything, I mean, we've seen as high 700s on stock motors with corn. Maybe somebody will break 800 soon. But there's all kinds of options once you start modifying beyond the 93 realm and running more boost.
And then you have the guys like Ryan Jordans of the world, where built mild compression. He was off-the-shelf cams through an auto. I think he was 850 through an auto or something like that.
Yeah.
Mad Max wants to know, where do I connect my boost box vacuum hose on a VMP Gen 3 on his 16 GT?
If you're hooking up a boost box to it, it depends on if they have any filtering on the boost source or any type of buffering on the transducer. If there's a decent buffering or a decent filter on the boost signal, you can use the one in the, I think it's cylinder 3 or cylinder 4 port on the lower manifold. If it is not buffered, I recommend pulling the hose off of what we call the dirty air hose off of the T-fitting that goes into the side of the blower. Cap the side that comes from the T-fitting and run the boost pressure transducer right off the lower manifold hose. And that usually gives you the smoothest boost signal.
Yeah, it gives you an average of all the cylinders versus the spikes you get on just one runner.
ID versus Deutschwerks injectors. I've been running Deutschwerks so far and seem okay. Why such price difference? Do IDs have any advantages?
I'd say that if you're currently running an injector, the car runs fine and you're not maxing it out, leave it in there. I think it's, in large part, it's a functionality and consistency thing. In a smaller part, it is a Nike versus New Balance type thing. Or I don't even know if that's accurate because I don't know if there's specific quality differences between the two. But if you have if you're at the point in which you're deciding on injectors on a build, get with your tuner as step one. Figure out what injectors they will support and get the injectors that they support. If whatever tuner you're using doesn't support DWs and they do support IDs, then you're obviously going to have to go IDs regardless of your personal preference.
But just tell your tuner they can use this, he or she can use the same value file for ID 1000s and DW 95s.
Yeah, it definitely gets you in the same
wink.
ballpark.
But yeah, it's a big tuner preference thing. There's some quality perceptions. There's some actual,
as it shakes out in real life types of perceptions.
Yeah, it's both ends of the spectrum. So don't change what's not broken.
Yeah. But if you're having some type of specific drivability concern or you're running into an inconsistency issue, I'd say that putting IDs in it wouldn't be a bad idea. But if your car's running fine, leave well enough alone.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Juan wants to know, I'm wanting to buy a ported 18 manifold with a JLT intake, BBK headers with Borla S-type catback. ID 1000 injectors, axle coils. Is this a good NA setup?
Do not put Excel coils on your car.
Please. We saw that on the dyno 2 weekends ago.
Do not put OEM coils only.
They do not
on an OEM ECU.
Horsepower.
Yeah, stock ECU, stock coils.
No horsepower increase. Like,
oh man.
If I shock Joe with 20,000 volts or 25,000 volts, he's still going to be dead.
It's still going to hurt.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah. Matthew says, hey, Justin and Joe. Joe, can't wait for the tune for the new motor. I need to watt. My foot is itching for it.
Oh, man. He's got the itch that only Watt can scratch.
I'm sorry, that's pretty funny.
Oh, man.
Slab Shack says, will GT500 Flex Fuel be an option in the future, or is that ECU capable? If so, what will be needed?
If that ECU is capable of flex fuel, does it have all the parameters available? And from a hardware standpoint, it already has the factory widebands. You can make the logic work on a GT500 ECU, but I don't think that it's necessarily a good idea with a GT500 ECU. I guess I'll just kind of leave it at that.
Power adder, trusting the computer to make large fuel
We're talking about roundabouts 30% here. You really want it to be very, very close out of the box, especially if by some off chance it goes open loop at Watt because one of the wideband goes out or stuff like that.
You know, when we make determinations like this, yes, there's other people doing it. For the volume of tuning we do and the customers we have and everything we tune all over the world, we're not comfortable with the potential risk versus benefits of it, is what it comes down to.
Exactly.
Dale says, or I should say. He says, sup, Joe Neal here. I need that 79 millimeter pulley for my Coyote swap. Just got my paint done.
Oh, man.
Awesome.
You know where to find us.
Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, you know where to find us. I got you.
And we've got like 179 pulley in stock, and then we get like 150 in like 2 weeks.
Oh, man.
Just because I was working on that this morning.
Fresh in the mind. Go ahead, Carrie.
Poor Boy says, good day, VMP. On your Chucky build, do you plan on upgrading the suspension, including K-member and subframe connectors?
Have you seen subframe connectors do anything in S197 chassis? I could imagine they'd help, but it's already so much better than Fox SN95, Fox 4 chassis stuff.
Yeah, both Joe and I had SN95s, and those were like wet noodles. So like the S197 is like rigid as heck.
Comparatively.
Yeah.
And then like S550 almost even more so.
I don't plan to add any weight to Chucky in terms of like jacking rails and shit like that. I mean, you can do them. They do add a lot of jacking points underneath the car. I mean, you know, maybe if you were in a situation where you drifted or road raced and you were always changing wheels and tires.
Or even just in that specific circuit altogether,
right.
More chassis rigidity is not necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah. Or if you've got a convertible S197.
Or an S550, like, I don't know what it is about them. They always have this weird shape to them at speed.
Wasn't there some talk about that or something about the S550s?
I don't know if it's like public talk, but I know we've had internal talks about like how they feel weird at speed. But I'd say on one of those, if you have a convertible, definitely consider any type of subframe stiffening you can do.
And I mean, Chucky could get like a K-member. Now I think it's funny because we're talking about an aftermarket K-members. They're not as rigid, but they're a hell of a lot lighter, and they make things much easier to work on. So they're commonly used in drag race applications, and Chucky could potentially get one of those in the future.
Eli says, can having too small of a turbo wastegate setup and exhaust intake manifold combo that flows a lot of air cause boost creep? Say like a single 70 to 65 millimeter turbo on a 5-liter plus motor.
I'd say that can cause back pressure issues more so than boost creep, as long as you have good wastegate priority and a good sized wastegate. If you have a wastegate that's either too small or a wastegate that's at like a 90-degree off a pipe, off one of the feed pipes, then you may not be able to flow enough exhaust gas out of it to actually keep boost under control. But like if you had like a 44, 48, 60 millimeter wastegate that had decent priority, I don't think boost creep would be an issue so much as back pressure would be an issue on like a single 70 setup. It depends on what like exhaust housing setup that you go with. Are we talking like a T4 flanged T70, or are we talking like a T6 flanged T70?
T4 housings are small, but you don't really see that till like 1,000 plus anyways though. So.
Yeah, and I'd say like if you're doing a super high RPM Coyote and you're gonna go single, like a T6 flange is probably a good idea, but if you're doing a twin setup, then like T4 will take you pretty far.
Yeah,
especially
twins.
on a good exhaust housing.
Yeah.
Randy says, support request for Joe. Need adjustments on launch. I'm back on stock converter. 3C is out. I'm running local 6.5 index these days. Needs launch help.
Okay, sweet.
He says was 1.36, 60 with 3C. Now it's at 1.50, 1.46 best.
Yeah, and I don't know that, I think you were referencing launch timing or something like that. I don't know that we're going to be able to get a 10th out of launch timing. I think that 3C was helping you out pretty good getting the car moving, but I can certainly try throwing a little bit more at it. But I got to have a conversation with you anyway, so I'll hit you up via email.
Dale says he wants to go to the track Friday. Just put in the new stall, 3,800.
Awesome.
Michelle says Gen 2 JLT cold air intake fit for Gen 3 directly?
Ish. If you use a coupler that has a little bit of an angle to it, you can make it work. Just make sure you tell whoever's tuning it that it's a Gen 2 cold air, not a Gen 3 cold air.
Daniel wants to know, when is your truck going to run 9s, Joe?
Probably when I take it out. I haven't taken it out yet. I got the new exhaust on. My front runners just came in last Friday.
Nice. Oh, that's what that is by the door.
I waited 19 or 20 weeks for those bad boys.
Wow.
Yeah. So now I'll be able to get a decent wheel and tire combo front and rear so it matches and doesn't look all goofy. And now that I have the exhaust, I just got to take it back out.
We can do some dyno testing on that before you take it back out.
I don't see why not. I just got to get more fuel. I'm
I
not doing that on 93.
I've got some new 160s we need to test on our trucks too.
I'm down with that.
If you're down with that, okay. Yeah.
Right now I'm on that fine line of like, do I just need to put a built motor in it? Like part of me is like, go for the 9, then the other part of me is like, man, that would really suck to lose that stock engine.
I know you have a spare block at home.
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
We got enough spare parts around here, it'll be fine.
For those that are just tuning in, I just want to put a reminder out there that we did a post below on Facebook. Go to our Facebook page for a special pre-recorded episode of Burnout Box. And Burnout Box this week will be Thursday at 1:30 in the afternoon.
So actually 2 different things going on, right, Carrie?
Yes.
This Thursday and for all future Burnout Box time slot change to 1:30.
Correct.
And same as Tuning Tuesday for those of you that are in a different time zone. And then August 25th, Rebecca's having a baby. I say she's having it because she's doing all the work, though it is my baby. So not August 25th exactly, or not April 25th exactly, but sometime around then. So we're going to pre-record a Burnout Box. Send us your questions, and we'll do a pre-recorded one.
Drop your questions below on Facebook on the post, so we can try and get them all together.
So a lot of shit going on with Burnout Box right now.
Dale says he loves the video coyote swap.
Oh, cool. That was all you, Joe, and our media team over here.
Me, Chris, and B-Rye.
Coyote Kelly says, hello, Joe and Justin. I like the shirt, Joe.
Thank you, sir.
Rick says, hi, V&P crew. He's on a 12 GT500 with a Gen 2R, 2.6 pulley, and 2013 injectors.
Nice.
Nice.
Will it need a fuel pump booster, or will the larger injector suffice?
It depends on where you're qualifying the need. Is the need based on the point at which fuel pump duty cycle hits 0.5, or is the need based on the point at which pressure starts actually dropping? And I'd say that you can get by without a booster. To me, is it ideal? No. If money's a little tight on the build and you just want to get it running, driving, and know that it's going to be safe, then I think that you'll be fine. If we're talking about best possible circumstances, get a booster on it, and then you know that you have enough pump. Especially with what we're seeing on some of these cars where the pump's running out a lot sooner than it should, and it's like, is one of these pumps bad? Because I shouldn't be having this issue on something like this.
Did I tell you we listened to Andrew's pumps when they prime? It sounds like...
Sounds like one pump?
It sounds funny. It could be one pump. It could be pressure bleeding off.
Or a filter that just isn't a little happy, something like that.
Yeah, something.
Here's a question. How much for dyno pulls at Carlisle? V&P car here.
Great question.
Is it just going to be power pulls?
Just dyno pulls, no tuning. We've had that question come up a couple times on social media. So it's $100, and it's possible to schedule them pay for them and schedule them ahead of time. So we're going to
that kind of locks in your spot.
Yeah, we're going to be running Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Carlisle, we've actually got time until we fly out to basically work all day Sunday. So.
What tuning device is preferred on the 1819 GT A10 naturally aspirated? Is flex available and trans brake feature?
Trans brake for the foreseeable future will not be available on SET. I believe that's a custom OS that HP is doing to enable trans brake. So if you wanted trans brake, that would have to be HP Tuner's Engage. If you wanted flex fuel, that's going to be, I'd say, third on priority list for upcoming calibrations R&D stuff. So I guess just keep an eye out for flex fuel. If you absolutely want /need trans brake, it's going to have to be with an Engage. And I guess that kind of answers the question about which one would be preferred. If it's preferred that you have a trans brake, it's got to be HP. If you don't care about an ECU controlled trans brake, then SET is fine.
AKDMB says, yesterday a friend told me his college roommate did mail order tuning way back in the early 90 Camaros.
Interesting.
He would mail out a chip and a wideband. Customer would take a log and he mailed them a new chip. He always got the wideband back.
Interesting.
Does anybody remember when PDAs were a thing?
PDAs as in like the little guys, like prior to smartphones?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Personal. So I had like a Palm or a something.
Palm Pilot?
Yeah. And dude, it was an LCD screen and it had like 19.2 kilobit per second internet on it. But point of the story is I had it hooked up to my FJO wideband to data log my motorcycle on the streets.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Throwback.
So the day that I was tuning the motorcycle up and down the street at my old house in DeBerry, I think the neighbors were a little PO'd that a crotch rocket was just going back and forth. But
I've seen people program boost controllers to work on Nintendo like SPs and stuff, like the Game Boys.
Oh wow!
They programmed like custom operating software stuff to be able to interface with a boost controller.
And the only reason I bring this up is because like who had a laptop back then? But if you could data log the wideband somehow, just get that data, then you could tune.
So Big Daddy Trucker says super chips back in the 90s, just plug it in.
I mean, for what it's worth, I was big into chip tuning in like 03, 04, 05, 06. And then we went to the SET X1, which had buttons, and then we finally got an X2 with LCDs.
Oh man.
And Lee Sebring says, does this mean Joe is old?
Lee Sebring, what's going on, man?
Which one's Lee Sebring?
He's one of the announcers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. When you going to be on our show, Lee?
Come on down.
Roll up here to New Smyrna Beach.
Announce all the questions.
Oh, wait a second. Lee? Okay. Is Ducks Race leaving South Georgia? Is that really an April Fool's joke? So, I got him on the spot.
Oh, man.
See what he says. An 03 Cobra with a Gen 2, BMP Gen 2, with 2.8 upper, made 615 to the wheel, but only seeing 126 to 127 mile per hour at quarter. Seems too low a mile per hour based on wheel horsepower to me. Do you agree?
Yeah, I'd be data logging your car at wide open throttle and confirming that you don't have a downstream air temp issue. I see it pretty commonly on 0304 Cobras now, whether it's a weak intercooler pump, a clogged intercooler system, if it's ever had an ice tank run through it, or if anyone's ever filled it up with not the greatest water. I'd start there by data logging it as it's going down the track. Monitor, I'd say your biggest thing to look at is going to be your downstream air temp. And to your initial question of the 123 to 127 mile an hour, that's going to depend a lot on your DA and
like also your driving, your shift points, and how long you lift during a shift. While you're data logging it, I will tell you the best drivers only lift for 0.4 to 1/4 of a second on every shift.
I've seen some people only lift for like 15th.
Yeah.
Or 0.15 of a second. And I'm like, wow.
Yeah. And if you got a DCT, it's what, 30 milliseconds or something like that? 0.03 seconds.
That'd be crazy.
Cody says, for putting the power down, what rear gear do you suggest for 800 plus horsepower with a T56 Magnum?
Is this S550 or the like a Cobra with a 26-inch tall tire?
Yeah, there's not the tire size and also the ratio, Magnum ratio, because you can get it in 2 different ratios.
And then your peak RPM, so like your shift RPM, because like 0304 Cobras, most guys shift around 6,500. Coyotes, most guys shift around 7,500. If you're a GT500 guy that put a Magnum in, I feel sorry for you, but if you did, then those are around 6,500 to 6,700. I'm not going to lie, at first I thought that was a fart. I was like, wow.
Oh, man.
But yeah, so it depends a lot on the setup. If you can give us some more information, I can give you a better answer to that question.
Clint Castleberry says, people lift.
No lift.
Sherrod says, best way to eliminate wheel hop.
First, figure out why you're getting wheel hop. Is step one. Is that our Sherrod? UPR Sherrod? Or?
No, it's Sherrod Pinkard.
Interesting.
Spelled S-H-E-R-O-D.
Yeah.
Sherrod.
Step one's figuring out why you're getting wheel hop. If it's bushing related, upgrading to a different durometer bushing or going to a solid bushing might help. If it's shock related or tire related, then getting rid of it's going to be paired with those. There's not one answer to wheel hop.
Jason says, I plan on buying a 75 or 72 millimeter pulley soon.
Mm-hmm.
I know the updated tune is included in the cost. Mm-hmm. Will this include changing from 93 to E85, or is that an added cost?
A 93 to E85 is a $100 additional charge.
Mustang Guru says, howdy from Tennessee.
Howdy, Mustang Guru.
Hey.
Chris says, what engine RPM should I downshift for Mexican rolls?
It's
Keep
another
it
one
in
of
the
those.
power band.
Yeah, it's another one of those. Kind of need a little bit more info on the setup.
James says, are you guys going to be at the Shift Sector Indiana half shootout this August?
We are not.
Big Daddy Trucker says, what up, BMP?
What's up, Justin?
Victor says, hi guys, hope all is well. I'm considering an 06 GT with a supercharger. Anything I need to do or be concerned about before purchasing a boosted 3-valve?
No offense to whoever owns it.
Look at 11-up cars.
Yeah, I mean...
Especially depending on how much you're spending on that supercharged 06, because you're going to be real mad when you get a 420 wheel supercharged 06 GT for... round numbers, we'll call it 15,000, and you get a bolt-on naturally aspirated Coyote making the same power as you walk past you for the same money.
Yeah.
That'd be my personal preference. At the end of the day, it's your choice to make, but
Pretty much sums
I
it
would
up.
look at an 11-up Coyote.
Yeah.
Jim Ferraro just tuned in from London.
Hola.
Hey, Jim.
Oh, man.
From London.
What time is it in London? They're like 6...
They're 6 hours ahead.
Yeah. Ooh, 8 o'clock.
Actually, it's been a while since we've had Jim on the show as well.
Jim, it's been too long. Come back.
Juan says, can BMP tune my car from far away? Could I download a file to a SCT tuner?
Most likely.
Yep.
We
Depends on the setup.
We did get a question on tuning like a 98 Turbo GT, and we only do remote tuning with power adders on 03, 04 Cobras or 05 and newer cars. Everything older we want to see on our dyno.
So Joey McLennan is saying, will we be in Atlanta this weekend for the NMRA? We will have some VMP crew there. And what's the other news
Oh,
about the race this weekend?
The Eaton TVS Throwdown race, and if you win, you get your choice of a TVS supercharger. So hopefully you choose us. We'll be giving away something really awesome.
Cookies.
Yeah.
Cookies.
Yeah, Jim Ferraro says it's 7:15 there.
Oh, man.
Mustang Guru says he hopes that Rebecca has the baby on the 24th, which is his birthday.
Birthday twins?
Nathan says, hey guys, nice beard joke. Quick question, is there any way to do long tubes, cold air, and flex fuel tune without voiding factory warranty on a 19 GT A10?
So my opinion on this has stood pretty firm over the past few years. If you have any concern about warranty and losing the warranty, probably best to leave your car stock. If you're okay with losing the warranty, which for what it's worth, a week after I owned my truck, the warranty was done and gone. And then 6 months into owning my truck, it had a blower at I think it was at 7,000 or 8,000 miles when I put a blower on it. I understand the dynamic's different. You don't do this for a living, maybe. So like you may have more concerns about whether or not your warranty is still available, but depends on what you want the warranty for. If you want the warranty on the engine because of the tick threads you've been reading, you're hyperventilating, all that stuff, probably just leave it alone. If you want the warranty for like when your
air conditioning.
Yeah, when your air conditioning goes out, or when you get a clunk from the rear end, or you have a tie rod that wears out, or something not directly powertrain related, the tune, what is it, Magnus and Moss Act? They have they have the burden of proof to prove that whatever mods you've done to the car have directly caused the failure of a part that would normally be covered under warranty.
He says the tick scares him and that stinks.
Yeah, and for everybody else it's wondering, like, Ford doesn't void the warranty on the whole car, only the part you modified. And yeah, I mean, Joe pretty much laid it out though. If you're worried about the tick, then give it some mileage and see if you're going to be a victim or not. I mean,
I'm of the opinion that what are they going to pull it out and put another engine that's going to tick? So like if it starts ticking, bite the bullet, do a motor. Like,
live your life the way you want to live it.
Just do it.
And I mean,
Shia LaBeouf style.
Based on the 18 engine we saw last week.
Yeah, I mean,
and everybody with an 1819 might need an engine sooner or later. It's just whether it.
I've seen Borsco video on completely stock cars that's like, all right, like that doesn't look happy. And I've seen some videos of other cars that are consuming a lot of oil in stock form, and it's like,
He says,
they make great power, but go ahead.
He says thank you.
No problem,
man. Brandon Cormier. Cormier says, Mustang on an 18 F-150 with a 36-gallon tank, 93 octane. He says if he uses an entire can, does it equal 100 octane? Half a can, 99 octane? Is the one extra octane worth putting twice as much boosting in?
No.
I'd say that by and large, no.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to get the biggest benefit from a product like that. You get the biggest benefit right off the bat as soon as you put it in the tank, and then
diminishing returns as you go up.
Yeah.
Especially when you consider the fact that on one of those trucks, they target, they're basically riding MBT on flex fuel. So it's like, as long as you can get that octane over like 98, 99, you're basically going to be running all the spark that makes a difference in the terms of how much power it makes.
Cameron says, speaking of back in the day, I ran a Ford Motorsport extender on my Fox in the late 90s.
Oh, nice. Man. All the throwbacks.
Poor Boy says, thanks for the answer on subframe connectors.
No problem, buddy.
Coyote Kelly says, any particular reason why VMP used to be called VMP Tuning? Were y'all a tuning company before you became a blower manufacturer? And yes, I watched some of your older videos a lot.
It's funny, there's an old VMP Tuning YouTube channel, and then my Justin Starkey YouTube channel has a few things on it too.
Oh man.
So
should we pull them and condense them?
I thought about it. I know we had a discussion about that, and then we just decided to leave it alone. Well, gosh, I don't know if you were even here, Carrie. Might have been before your time.
Oh man.
But
back in the day.
Yeah, because I actually found the password to the VMP Tuning YouTube channel at some point.
Oh man.
But to answer the person's question, we just decided to go with the performance name to be more all-encompassing. In reality, we've been doing superchargers since 2010 and playing with them even earlier than that. And there was a whole VMP Superchargers brand name out there that had a short stint, but yeah, all-encompassing is the name of the game.
Yeah.
Right now.
I guess at the end of the day, it was a branding marketing thing. We didn't want people to just think of us for tuning or just think of us for superchargers. We wanted them to think of us for everything.
Yeah, exactly.
So now we're Velocity Mustang Performance.
Yes, exactly.
We have about 12 minutes left, and because we have 12 minutes left, I'm not going to take any questions because we're going to try and finish right on time at 2:30 today. D-Man says, any ideas why my car smokes a little when I let off on first or second? It's oil smoke, and I have oil separators.
Hard to say. I'd say that there's not any one answer to that.
Esteban says, question, does the Twin 69 fit the Gen 2R right out of the box?
Gen 2, yeah, it would fit Gen 2R.
Yep.
Hey guys, Joe, I sent you the data log on the watt pool, 2000 RPM to 7500 RPM. Car is still seeing a knock on a 17 Roush on Sunoco 104 octane, seen around 3 degrees. That's from
Sam Constantino.
You got it.
Yeah, just to clarify, you're not actually getting knock. That's false knock that we're fighting.
Mustang Guru says, planning to break the internet with a Coyote swap in his 94 Z28.
Oh man.
Nice.
I still think we need to do our other idea. I won't disclose what that other idea was, but I think if we really want to break the internet, it needs to happen.
Yeah, no.
You let me know and I'll hunt the auctions.
Hunt.
Okay.
Just do it.
Okay.
Just do it. I'll get the cheddar, Joe.
Get the cheddar. I'll get you
the sniffing at it, sniffing it out.
I will find you a thing.
Jeff wants to know, so would a flex fuel Coyote F-150 remain flex fuel when a blower is added, or do you have 2 dedicated tunes from that point forward? One for gas, one for ethanol.
Problem solves itself on that note.
Fill it up with the 85 and see what happens. No, don't run flex fuel with a blower tune. Actually, I won't go into this, but the short of it is you do not have enough fuel system for a blower, or for E85 when you're running a blower.
It kind of acts the flex fuel ability at that point.
Yeah. I think Roush even includes a little sticker that you're supposed to put on the gas cap that says, do not use flex fuel.
Yeah.
When you throw a blower on one of the trucks.
Yeah, I think they do.
Poor boy says, what's a warranty?
How do I warranty?
Lauren says, an 18 ported manifold worth it on a 13 F-150?
I've seen pretty good gains on trucks with doing a Mustang ported manifold, but the gain, it lost down low at 3,500. I'm going to feel that cruising around when you're at 10 degrees of throttle angle at 2,000 RPM.
And I want my engine to be a torque monster. I like to drive at low RPM. I'm different than most people.
Yeah, I drive my car like a stock pushrod 5-liter. It's like you realize the reason that Ford does that is for partially emission.
Under the curve, power increases under the curve, average horsepower immense with better flowing intakes on Coyotes. So,
you know what I want to do next time we're on the dyno? I'm going to set a limit of 10 degrees in the throttle, and we're going to see what it does at 10 degrees of throttle pedal all the way down at 2,000 RPM.
That's a good idea.
Because like they try to translate the graph into how you're driving around town. That the graph at wide open throttle when the throttle blade's all the way open is only relative when the throttle's all the way open. It's not relative when you're 10% pedal at 2,500 RPM. Because the throttle's not open that far, you're still producing vacuum in the engine. It's not going to make nearly as much power.
That's a really good point. Like, yeah, Joe, that's interesting.
That and spark's going to be completely different. Your spark at watt at 0.8 load is going to be significantly lower than it is at 0.2, 0.3 load at 35 degrees at a decent cam angle. It's like, guys, come on, it doesn't translate like that.
Roush question.
I digress. Go ahead.
On a 13 Roush car, why do they disable the knock sensors?
Because they were not running enough boost for it to matter, and they were a pain in the ass. So that'd be like a 13, 14 auto phase 1 cal that would have disabled knock sensors. Or even like 11, 12, like FPDX0A5, I think had disabled knock sensors.
And that's a Ford Racing cal. But
yeah.
Did they do it on the phase? Was there a difference between phase 1 and phase 2, whether they disabled them or not?
Well, the autos never had a phase 2.
Right.
So like, if you look up the FSFR, the knock sensors are disabled in that, but then you look up FPFR1AB or one of those, knock sensors are enabled.
Okay, so on the higher boost phase 2 cal, they did turn knock sensors back on.
Yep. But on those 85, 90 millimeter cals,
they left them off, yeah.
Yep.
It's kind of funny how that works.
Mm-hmm.
Justin Forrest says SCT has been dropped at the front with a smiley one.
Awesome.
Awesome. Sweet.
Slab Shack says, is making less boost and more timing the best way to make more power And do you hate these type of questions?
I don't hate those type of questions. Those are very loaded questions though, because you almost have to say, all right, well, how much timing are you running? How much are you considering too much for the fuel available? But I guess at the end of the day, boost doesn't create as much cylinder pressure as spark advance has the potential to when spark advance is too high. So in some ways, more boost is better than more timing, but when you keep it within reason, I think that running timing at a reasonable level is better than running boost at the edge of what the octane supports. Because you can generally generate more load and lugs and combustion pressure at the hit of a pole with decent timing and more boost than you can with moderate timing and less boost.
Yeah, and it's kind of a balancing act depending on the combination. I mean, like from my perspective, if I had the choice to run like 12 or 20 psi and make more power, obviously less boost is also less heat, which feeds into running more timing. But really, the big factor that the practical application of this is compression ratio. Always raise the compression ratio if you're building the engine and run moderate to less boost. That's what really matters at the end of the day, in my opinion. Yeah,
and if you really want to look at it as a right way versus wrong way thing, look at what the OEMs are doing. There's not many OEMs that run over 14 pounds of boost stock. But I can tell you that some of the cows out there will run damn near MBT timing and cap protection, even with the lower boost. So take that for whatever it's worth.
We have 4 minutes left. D-Man says, regarding the smoke that he's getting, possibly piston rings or valve seals?
Could really go either way. The easiest way to know is do a leak down if you want to try and determine if it's leaking down through the rings. Valve seals is going to be a bit harder to tell, but you could almost throw a borescope up there and see if you have like oil accumulation around the exhaust valves when they're open.
Yeah, I'd try to make that judgment based on the engines, the type of the engine, the lifespan, and the current use, and any suspected, issues.
That, and it's like you also got to look at like, is it running bad? No. Is it throwing any misfire codes? No. Is there any other like sign that you need to be worried other than smoke? Because like I've seen like caravans and stuff do all sorts of weird stuff, and then you get like race motors that just like smoke.
He says it's a 17 GT with 15,000 miles and it runs great.
Beat it.
Yeah, and pull the plugs, take a peek at the plugs, see what the plugs look like. If you have oil accumulation on the plugs, then it's probably getting in there after the combustion event.
John says he's got an 04 Cobra question. Going strictly E85, what setup would you run for max power, 2.8 at 4 pounds combo, or 2.8 with 6 pound combo with a VMP Gen 2?
Unless did he say if he had cams or anything like that? Cams built motor?
No, so actually 3.0 and 4 pound is the most you want to do on a 2.3 liter.
And if you want to bring that down to a 2 pound, that'd be like a 2.8 and a 2 pound. If you wanted to bring it up to a 6 pound, that's like a 3.2 and a 6 pound.
Yeah.
But that's the max that we recommend running that blower at without cams built motor.
Because you're making like 23, 24 pounds, and we don't recommend going over that. Make the motor flow. Don't run more boost and make more heat and have an increased restriction and all that crap.
Leo wants to know, when is the TVS showdown? Who will show up? And is the Toro the car to beat?
I would say the Toro is the car to beat unless the GM and the Dodge people bring something.
What is El Toro or Del Toro running these days?
850, no spray.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
What was Mitchell running in his car?
Nobody knows. But Mitchell's gone a high 120 in the 8th, which we know is a low 8. So it'd actually be VMP on VMP crime. I encourage the Chevy boys to bring... Yeah.
White car versus black car.
Oh, man. I encourage the Chevy boys to bring something, but I don't know if they will.
We shall see.
Do you guys tune
see a bunch
Boss
of Cadillacs
302s?
out there.
Oops.
You know what? That's the ticket right there.
Fast Cadillac. Do we tune a lot of Boss 302s? We do.
Absolutely. I used to have one.
He had a 12 that looked like a 13 from the front.
It is $229. Actually, now it just turned $230. So let's wrap it up.
Wrap it up. All right. So any questions left over, Joe and his team will hit those after the show. And to recap, Burnout Box at 1:30, live Burnout Box at 1:30 on Thursday, new time slot, and then Burnout Box pre-recorded for when Rebecca has our baby. And drop your questions in the separate Facebook post on the VMP page. We'll answer them. We'll do the pre-recorded Burnout Box deal because we'll be enjoying our newborn. And that's it.
If you like the channel and you like this type of content,
Joe's better at that. Go ahead, Joe.
Like, share, and subscribe if you want to see more great content like this and you want us to keep producing it, because there's not much utility to producing it if you guys don't appreciate it.
and that's it.
Sweet.
See you guys next week.
Bye, guys.